Hello, everybody. I'm Andrew Higgins, and this is the Realist Podcast. Today's Realist topic will be over whether you should become a legal adult at 18 or not, and I will deliver you a cut-dry response in my own personal opinion. Have you ever met anyone that's younger than you who seems way more mature, or even somebody who's older than you and still acts like they're in middle school? It's funny how quote-unquote age is supposed to define when we are ready for the real world, but in reality, that's not really how it works. We all grow up at different speeds shaped by what we lived through, not just a number on our ID now. That's why I personally believe that 18 is the right legal age, not because it's some magical number where everybody suddenly becomes adults, but because it's a fair and practical line in a world where maturity can't scientifically be measured. Scientists love to tell us all about the brain and how it develops. Sure, parts of our brain keep on growing until our mid-20s, but that doesn't mean that someone under 18 isn't capable of adult decisions or someone older automatically is. Circumstances matter more. Some people are forced to grow up early, working jobs, caring for families, and making tough decisions long before they're legally adults. The law has to draw the line somewhere, and 18 balances responsibility with fairness. At that age, most people have finished school, started forming their own beliefs, and begun stepping into their own space of independence. It's an age where society gives you a voice to vote, to work, to serve, and to choose who you want to be. Maturity isn't some special birthday gift that appears overnight. It's built in by experience in the environment you're raised in and the challenges we face every single day. So while scientists can map our own brains, it can't measure your readiness. That's why 18 is not because it's perfect. It's not because it's practical. It remains the best point to say you are ready to take responsibility for your own life. Okay, now that y'all know how I feel about the topic personally and my overall view on it, I will get into my 3 points, the realist cut and dry 3 ideologies towards becoming a legal adult at 18. My first point is that maturity isn't defined by age. People grow up at different speeds. Life experiences, not science, shapes maturity. Even though age marks time, it doesn't always reflect readiness. Some teenagers handle real responsibilities early while some adults still avoid them. Speaking from personal experience, I am a testament to the fact that our own circumstances and experience can make us more ready than the other people around us who may have been babied growing up. Personally, I experienced a huge boundary between me and my peers around me. As growing up, I had to become ready and learn how to take care of myself way before any of the people around me did, and my peers and the same people that were my age. And it was very clear in our mannerisms and how we carried ourselves and how we handled our business whenever it came to our social lives or our work ethic in the classroom. And it's kind of scary to think that just because some people may have been babied extra, that they might have long-term consequences to them in their readiness because of it. I do think that people who had a equal life balance are kind of in that good area to be at because they may not have had it hard, but they have a good head on their shoulders, they have a good support system, and they will figure it out. However, whenever you are put through those very hard things whenever you are younger, or you are put in a space where you are more independent, it does train you and put you ahead of the game and ahead of your peers around you. In our second point, I was talking about how science can't measure readiness. In the article, Adolescence Maturity and the Brain, the Promise of Pitfalls in Neuroscience Research and Adolescent Health Policy, by Sarah B. Johnson, Robert W. Blum, and J. N. Geed, published on June 27, 2010. The article states, longitudinal neuroimaging studies demonstrate that adolescent brain continues to mature well into the 20s. This has prompted intense interest in linking neuromaturation to maturity of judgment. However, empirical evidence linking neurodevelopmental processes in adolescents' real-world behavior remains sparse. This quote tells us that although our brains don't develop until we are fully 25, that our judgment may be scientifically quote-unquote clouded, but our evidence of this is very sparse. And it just goes back to my point of, yes, our brains might not be fully developed, but that does not mean that our character can change. As humans, every second, moment to moment, we are called to change, to grow, and our ideologies change with us as we grow, right? So why would it matter that our brain is not fully developed? And why would that, yes, obviously it will contribute to our maturity, but it's not like it's setting a limit or boundary on us. I mean, the sky's the limit. The more that you go through, the more we are called to change, the more that we grow, the more that we will mature. On to my last and final point. 18 is fair and practical. The law needs a line that balances responsibility with fairness, and 18 does that best. By 18, most people have finished school, begun forming their own values, and are ready to take on real-world choices like voting, working, and independence. Another one of my personal views on this is, think about it like this. In high school, whenever you're a teenager, which is under 18, you live with your parents and you're going to high school. Although some of us may vary in how much our parents are involved and how much we are involved, that's it. Your parents are involved. However, once you turn 18, if you decide to go to college or if you decide to go to work, you will be separated from your parents and you will be on your own. Therefore, you will be forced to be a responsible adult. Therefore, no matter ready or not, 18 is the good equal ground between both sides, and it's a major turning point in a person's life where they are slowly becoming a young adult. Okay, on to the interviewing portion of the podcast. The first person I will be interviewing is...
My name is Camille McGuire. I'm one of Andrew's friends, and I'm 16 years old.
Okay, so today we're going to be interviewing Camille about whether you should be considered 18 or not and the legalities that come with it. So our first question is, what does it really mean to be an adult by age, responsibility, and maturity?
I think what it means to be an adult is like you know your responsibilities, you're able to take care of yourself and provide for yourself, and you don't rely on other people for like your success, and like you have to take accountability for your own actions emotionally, physically, in all aspects of your life.
Okay, so our second question is, should adulthood be defined by biology or by experience and independence?
I think that adulthood should be defined based off like how fully developed your brain is and how much life experience you have, because say you're a kid and you just get thrown into adulthood as soon as you turn 18, you've been sheltered your whole life and you haven't had any opportunities to actually learn and grow in the way that adults are. I feel like that's very hard and it's a very big change, and it can lead to things that could affect your whole life, like simple mistakes just because you're not fully ready or fully developed in your brain.
Okay, so our third question is 18 a good medium age for you to start to be considered an adult?
I think in a way 18 is a good age because it kind of forces you to branch out and go do life on your own, away from your parents and away from their help. Although when you're an adult, you're not fully cut off from your parents, and most parents will still offer that help. You have a little more independence, which I think a lot of people need to be pushed into that so they can learn how to just live life on their own without, being so sheltered or coddled. And not all people are like that, but for the ones that are, I think 18 is a good age. And then for the ones that aren't, they've already been like experiencing life on their own, or probably having to, do things alone and get through life, so they're already like accustomed to it.
Okay, so our next question is, personally, do you feel like you are equipped with the tools to become an adult at 18?
So me personally, I feel like maturity-wise and emotional, like intelligence-wise, I think I am. Like if by the time I would be 18, but on the other hand, I don't think I have enough life experience to be able to handle certain situations on my own. I would still have questions about what to do, and especially when it comes to like paying like taxes, bills, all the things along those lines, I have no idea how any of that works. And so I feel like that would be like a big change from now to adulthood and just like living on my own.
Okay, so I agree with everything you're saying, and I feel like your acknowledgement of like emotionally you might be ready, but you still lack some experiences, and being put out on your own already shows like the emotional maturity that you have, and the fact that you understand that like you still are gonna need your parents' help. it's just good to see from a person's perspective who's able to acknowledge that. So my question to you is, do you have any final thoughts?
I don't really. I just think, really this topic is subject to however you were raised, however you grew up. That is the only way you can truly answer this question, because everyone has gone through different things. Everyone has experienced more or less than others, and everyone's experiences is what essentially shape them into the person they are and what they know, what you see in life.
Okay, so our last and final interview, and to wrap up this podcast, will be from my mother. I'm very interested to get into this and see what she has to say, because my mom has lived a lot of life and she's a very wise lady. And I know she can touch on the subject, as she's been a woman that has been through hardship and that has watched me grow up and has raised several children, and she knows what it means to be a responsible adult. Okay, so without further ado, here's my mom.
Hey, I'm Marisol Spriggs, and I'm Andrew Higgins' mom.
Okay, guys, so today I'm going to be interviewing my mom on whether you should be considered a legal adult at 18 and the legalities that come with it. So my first question for her is, watching me grow up, do you feel like as a mother I would be ready to go out into the world based off my circumstances and my experiences growing up?
Yes, I do feel that you would be ready to go out into the world based off of the circumstances of you growing up, simply because you are the baby of the family, and there are how many kids? How many siblings do you have?
We have 7.
There's 7, and he's the baby. The oldest is 36, and he's the youngest at 16. So he has had that lifelong learning experience of watching his siblings grow up and see mistakes that they may have made, their accomplishments, their goals, their dreams, their obstacles in life. So he has had that experience. And also, me and his dad have used a lot of life learning experiences. One of the things that I'm known for saying is, you see, this is why X, Y, Z, to give them an understanding, to give him an understanding, just like the rest of his siblings, of how things function in the world.
Okay, so my second question for you, Mom, is how have you seen my experiences shape me and equip me with the tools to be ready whenever I turn 18?
The one thing that I started out, not only with Andrew, but with all my kids, when they were about 7 years old, I would have them get on the phone and order a pizza. That way they would learn how to speak to people, especially on a quick notice. So of course I'm there and I'm telling them, coaching them as to what to say, but the first couple times they would freeze up. So I would also, if we had an invitation somewhere with RSVP, I would put not only Andrew but his siblings, as they were getting older, to call and say, hey, this is Andrew. I'm calling to see if you're RSVPing for the party. And I would put them to do that. That way they would start to get that experience and that interaction of not being afraid to talk to people, or that I would make them order. So that gave them that experience. Then his dad, for example, went and opened up his first bank account and gave him the credit card experience. Since his dad is his own business owner, he kind of handled that. And then we started allowing him to go grocery shopping with a budget. He had a budget on how much he can grocery shop with, and he would cook his own meals on the weekends or whenever he really wanted to. He had that option.
Okay, Mom, so one of my last questions is, personally, growing up, how do you feel that your own hardships and personal experiences put a good head on your shoulder as emotionally for you to be ready whenever you turn 18? Being an adult isn't only being responsible in your physical actions, but also having a good head on your shoulders and emotionally strong as well.
I definitely believe that what happens when we're young shapes us into who we become as adults. For me, my father passed away when I was 10, and we have in the family, we have our youngest brother who is mentally disabled with Down syndrome. So I always looked out for him, even when my dad was alive. So that kind of made me take on what I call a moral responsibility, where I felt morally obligated to take care of him. It didn't seem like a chore. It was just something that I did, and that gave me that extra sense of responsibility. And also, it's not only, we all need somebody, even when we grow up, to lean on. And I always knew that no matter what, I could always call my mom, whether we were at odds or we were getting along, because their families always argue. I could always call my mom and lean on her for advice. And I've given that to my kids as well.
Okay, I agree with a lot of what you said, and I always enjoy hearing your personal spin of you growing up. I like the fact that you incorporated that you would always need the help and support of your mom, and I feel like it's important for us to realize that even though we might be equipped with the experiences and the traits that we need to become an adult, every single person in this world needs somebody to lean on, and somebody still comes to everybody. Like, nobody has it all figured out. And I just want to ask you, like, do you have any final thoughts regarding this topic, and like, how do you feel about it personally?
I feel that in today's day and time, today's youth, now they give everybody Generation XYZ. I'm Generation X. I'm the generation that came home when the lights came on. If you were thirsty, we didn't carry water bottles. We ran up to somebody's stranger's house and found a water spigot and drank through the water hose. We were on our bikes all day. We didn't have cell phones back then, so nobody knew where we were at. We just told them what time we would be back and kind of sort of where we would be. I think today's generation and today's society, I think with social media, has given our youth a false sense of security. And I think that a lot of the times today's youth thinks that because of social media, that life is a little bit easier than what it actually is, and it gives them a false sense of security, and a lot of kids fail coming out of the gate at 18.
Okay, I appreciate my mom and Camille for coming to interview, but that is why I believe that you should become a legal adult at 18. And that is a wrap on the Realist podcast.